This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Oh, there he is. Luigi Mangione is leaving court in Pennsylvania, heading to New York to face many charges, 11 charges to be specific, including a terrorism charge, which will bring the death penalty into this, which is a wonderful thing. But this is so sick. There are reportedly more than 100 protesters outside the courthouse in support of a man, a little punk, a rich white Ivy Leaguer who shot a man in the back in cold blood in New York City. 100 people decided on this Thursday morning that they would get up early, show up with signs that say "Free Luigi," "Kill all CEOs." We have a real sickness in this society. This is just madness. You actually think the man is a hero? A hero. That's what they're calling him. Luigi's a hero, says one sign, held up by a guy I'm looking at right now who's about 400 pounds. He's upset with the health care. There it is. Free Luigi. There's two guys I'm looking at right now. One, they're both, 350 pounds. One of them is got a mask on, of course. It says privatized health care is a crime against humanity. The other guy just says, nice sign, Free Luigi. He's upset at his health insurance company. He's 400 pounds and he just can't seem to get healthy. And it's all the fault of Brian Thompson and other health insurance executives. This is insane. He is going to New York. He waived extradition. He's heading there to face an 11-count indictment in New York City today. And he's got support, lots of support. In fact, people are sending him money. They're sending him love letters. They're sending him cards, Christmas cards to a murderer, a cold-blooded murderer, because they're just not happy with the health insurance industry. How did we get to this place in society? Listen to this. This is from CNN telling you about the love that Luigi is receiving while in lockup in Pennsylvania. Go ahead.
Yeah, per a spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections, as of this afternoon, Mangione has received 158 deposits into his prison commissary account. Also, as of this afternoon, he's received 40 emails and 53 pieces of mail. That's notable because that's up considerably from the 6 pieces of mail that he had received, as we reported yesterday.
He's received 158 cash deposits into his account at the jail in Pennsylvania. A guy who is an heir to a fortune. Now, we heard he's going to be cut out of the will because his grandmother didn't want any felons to receive her money. But I don't think he's having trouble paying the bills. His family hired a real high-powered, high-priced attorney to fight these charges. But what kind of defense is he going to mount? I mean, is he going to claim he's innocent? Because Brian Thompson was an evil executive. God, I don't think I can handle this. I don't think I can handle this. All right, we'll keep you updated on that. More breaking news. A judge in Georgia just kicked Fani Willis off the case against Donald Trump. That is great. Fani, first Nathan Wade, her boyfriend, and now Fani Willis is out, which is great because she's about as corrupt as they come. As we know, she was running a scheme, taking taxpayers' money, giving it to her boyfriend, and they were traveling around the world and spending your money ostensibly, to build a case against Donald Trump. By the way, Nathan Wade admitted he made many trips to D.C. to meet with the Biden administration. Just one of many, many scandals in the last 4 years. But I don't think the case against Trump is going to hold up in Georgia. It's over. It's all over. The lawfare has failed. But we're on to the latest fight for the incoming Trump administration, this budget battle in D.C. I'm sorry, I find this fascinating. I feel like Elon Musk and X and Vivek Ramaswamy are leading a fight which we have to have. This has to happen. This is not just a battle over priorities. This is a reckoning. If you missed it Little Mike Johnson, who I don't think is going to get invited to any more football games with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. He's not going to the next UFC fight with Donald Trump. He is a pathetic squish, a weak, spineless swamp creature who submitted a bill yesterday, a spending bill of more than 1,500 pages. It was initially supposed to be 26 pages, just a quick CR, continuing resolution to keep the government open, pay for the essentials. It turns out to be another pork barrel bill. It turns out to be exactly what 77 million Americans voted against just a few weeks ago. I found this shocking. I don't understand. I felt like we were turning a corner. Republicans have the majority in the House, slim majority. They're going to have the majority in the Senate. They have the White House. They have Musk. They have X. And I felt like things were changing. There was a shift under our feet. And this wasn't going to happen, but it did. And now we have this battle. And in 2 days, the government is going to shut down. And I have a question, simple question for all those people who voted for Donald Trump, more than 77 million. Do you care? Does anybody care if they shut the government down over this fight? We're going to go over some of the things that are in this bill. Again, we thought things were changing. We thought these days were over. But they submit this bill, and the Democrats are all 100% behind it. They support it. $100 billion of money we don't have, they want to spend. And we'll go over some of the things that are in it. But, and to me, here's the way I look at this. If any one of these things, just one of them, are in this bill, you have to fight it. You have to say no. Just on general principles, you have to say we're not going to do this anymore. One thing that's in it, a pay raise for Congress, a 40% pay raise for these worthless hacks in D.C. Now, they say they haven't had a pay raise in a long time. They don't deserve one. Congress worked 138 days this year. They had 227. I mean, they worked 220. Once again, they worked 138 days. They had 227 days off. They make $180,000 a year. They have all kinds of perks. One other perk that's in this bill for Congress, they can opt out of Obamacare. Unlike all those people protesting, supporting Luigi Mangione, they don't have to be stuck in Obamacare. They can opt out if they don't like it. That should be right there. That should be a deal breaker. A pay raise in a bill that's just supposed to help with hurricane victims and farmers. That was the initial goal. When it was going to be 26 pages, they were going to help people in Western North Carolina and help the farmers. And somehow it turned into a pay raise for Congress. How is that not unethical on its face? Just that. That's just one little perk in this thing. It gets more outrageous by the moment. I'll go over a few of them. $3 billion for an NFL stadium in D.C. Okay, what does that have to do with with helping hurricane victims? Here's the most odious thing, the most disgusting thing they do. They put all this pork in the bill, and then they say, oh, you're not going to vote for it? You're not going to support it? What about the children living in tents? What about the children of military people who are overseas? You're going to do this to them at Christmas time? These people are so sleazy, so scummy. What they're doing here, what they're doing is business as usual. And it just gets more outrageous by the minute. They're funding vax mandates. Gain of function research is in this bill. And they say, if you don't support that, oh no, a government shutdown. Old people won't get their Social Security. That is a lie. Here's what they're doing. There is a political stunt. They're going to tell you, if you don't support this $100 billion pork bill with pay raises for Congress, you're going to hurt old folks who are living on Social Security. No, you're not. We've had government shutdowns before. Essentially, something like 85 to 90% of the federal government stays open. People continue to get their Social Security and their Medicare. Of course they do. You can't go to a national park. Oh, no. You mean to reform government, I might have to not go to the Washington Monument or I might not get to climb to the top of the Bunker Hill Monument in response to this swampy, deep, scummy spending bill. I might not get to go to a museum. I'm pretty sure everybody who voted for Trump is okay with that. A couple of days where I can't go to a museum in order to get the house in order, to show we're sick of this, we're tired of this. Okay, let's get to more of this stuff that's in this, essential bill at Christmas time. By the way, it's at Christmas time because they chose to do it at Christmas time. They could have done this anytime, August, September, October. They chose December 18th, just like they always do, to say, we got to get this done before Christmas. It's just so sleazy. Here's a few other things. And it's just amazing the kind of, in the bill, there's all these provisions where they change the language. Like they no longer want to call people offenders. Criminals aren't offenders. They're justice-involved individuals. How is a bill in a Congress, in a House that's controlled by Republicans, how does that get in there? How is that allowed in there? I don't understand the process. If you're negotiating, you're sitting around a room, how does any Republican agree to change the language? That's bad. This is worse. Listen to this little item that's in this bill. It's designed to protect Congresspeople who might be in a little trouble about January 6th, the January 6th committee. Liz Cheney, obviously, who's not in Congress anymore, but some of them are. Adam Schiff, Benny Thompson. A provision in the CR, this is from the Hill, says that, quote, upon a motion made promptly by a House office or provider for a House office, a court-competent jurisdiction shall quash or modify any legal process directed to the provider for a House office if compliance with the legal process would require disclosure of House data of the House office. There's a provision to stop them from subpoenaing Congresspeople who may have committed crimes in a spending bill in a House controlled by Republicans. What is going on here? How does this happen? How do you allow Chuck Schumer or whoever, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, to have any say here, any control here? How can they not come up with something that all the Republicans agree on, and the hell with the Democrats? Can someone explain that to me? It just seems so insane. They fund in this bill a thing called the Global Engagement Center. That's a little State Department outfit that censors conservative voices. Yes, the censorship state is funded in this bill. A group that has been sued by, I believe, the Daily Wire and the Federalist because they target them and they censor them as misinformation. I thought those days were over. I thought we won in November. I thought we were going to see no more of this, no more vax mandates and gain of function research. You're going to hear from Democrats for the next week talking about how kids are going to go hungry. And that in it is $3 billion for an NFL stadium. Why can't they be asked? Why can't we ask them that? Why would you do this to children of military people? Why are you doing this to kids in Western North Carolina? Why are you forcing this pork in a bill meant to help them? Why? Why is it on the Republicans? Most of these government shutdowns, I was just looking at the last 10 government shutdowns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them lasted one day. One day. The last one in 2019 lasted 35 days. You know how many people have died as a result of a government shutdown? Zero. Nobody starved to death. They might starve to death in Western North Carolina because Democrats are insisting on a pay raise before they will help hurricane victims. Throw Chris Murphy's. Chris Murphy is just the most unctuous, odious member of Senate, just a despicable human being. He's every bit as bad as the two Massachusetts senators. He represents Connecticut, and he is just a dishonest slimeball. He writes, why do the billionaires, Musk, Ramaswamy, and Trump, want to shut down the government for Christmas? Because they still get paid? Actually, they don't. None of the three has taken any money. But anyway, he writes, it's our troops, TSA agents, and other federal workers who won't get paid. It's their kids who will suffer at Christmas. Now, this is just despicable. This is as low as it gets. You're lying, first of all. You're using children to advance your agenda of overspending, continuing to just spend on worthless pork that you sneak in here and think you're going to get it past people like Musk and Ramaswamy. And we should pay tribute once again to the great Elon Musk. If not for Musk, if not for X, this would be a done deal. Ask X and all the people screaming on X and going through this bill, this 1,500-page bill, and picking out some of this pork. If not for that, this thing passes. This is a great victory for X users and Elon Musk. Just a couple more things that had to be in there because of the children who will suffer at Christmas. $3 million to test the inspection of molasses. There's money to extend a, quote, sheep marketing grant program. Oh, we're no longer going to call people homeless. They're people suffering from homelessness. Why is that in here? More money for recycling and composting. The federal government in this bill will pay the entire tab to rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Maryland. That's all on the federal government. Just remarkable gall and chutzpah to shove this in there and think you're going to get it by the public. I think it's over. I think those days are over. I think this is a good thing. You know what most federal workers get when there's a shutdown? They get a paid vacation. By the way, only 6% of them even go to work. So the people sitting working at home will be shut out, will be forced out of whatever, working at home. And then there'll be a shutdown for a week or two. And you know what happens then? They get their back pay. They get a week off at Christmas, and then they get their pay. There's no real suffering. There's no big problem for the country. I think you would be hard-pressed to find a single Trump voter who wouldn't be willing to shut down the government to stop this garbage right here. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Mike Johnson is hanging by a thread because he has shown his true colors. He is a fraud. He is a weasel. He is spineless. He buckled. How do you think you're going to get away with this when you're supposed to come up with a 30-page bill and it's 1,500 pages and all this crap is in it? How did you think you were going to get away with it, Mikey? It makes no sense. And everybody, see, here's what people don't understand. Trump supporters, they're up for a fight. They want to fight over it. This is why they're so pissed at the government. This is why we're in $36 trillion in debt. This is why they voted, and they voted. This is why they were so passionate and angry because of this. And you throw this in their face at Christmas and say, we must do it for the children. Well, screw that. We're done with that. It's over. Bring it on. Let them shut down the government for 32 days. And then Trump takes office and John Thune takes the gavel in the Senate, and then we'll do it. Or come out today with a 30-page bill without all this pork and make the Democrats explain why they're so upset that we're not building the Washington Commanders a stadium and why we're not giving them a pay raise. They have an approval rating of like 12%, and they think they deserve a pay raise for a part-time job doing things like this. Who supports that? Who wants Congress to get a 40% pay raise for doing a terrible job. But all right, we will see what happens. It's ongoing. The fight is going on. Elon Musk and Vivek, they don't sleep. Vivek said he read the whole thing. I'm not sure how you read 1,500 pages, but he and his staff read the whole thing, and they were just tweeting out. And Musk said anybody who supports this will be primaried in 2 years, and Musk has unlimited resources to support that. So I think that is a real threat. That puts the fear of God into the Republicans. So I think this bill is essentially dead, as well it should be. We will make it through the shutdown once again, as we always have. It's a hollow threat, an empty threat, and everybody knows it. All right, we got so much more to get to. We'll give you the latest on Mangione. I believe he's on his way to New York. They're flying him to New York. Why do they have to do that? Why can't they just throw him in a police car and an SUV and drive him?
Would you want to listen to him talk for that long?
He by the way, he's got a haircut, a shave. I didn't get to see his abs, see if he's working out, but he said nothing. He threw no tantrums this time. Maybe he's resigned to his fate, but he will be flown to New York, where many more protesters, probably a lot more. There was a meeting, some kind of event for CEOs in New York the other day, and these people were outside saying, "Kill all the CEOs." What an insane development. We want to kill all the CEOs. What about the CEOs of all the green companies, the CEOs who are woke? There's a lot of them. We're going to kill them too? Or is it just the MAGA CEOs, whoever they are? These people are sick, and they're getting sicker, and they're waiting. They'll be waiting for Mangione when he arrives in New York. And this is terrific, though, that he's going to face terrorism charges, so the feds can put the death penalty on the table. New York can't do that. They won't do that. Wouldn't it be a great day in America to see this little punk strapped in and getting a needle? I would love that. All right, we got a lot to get to here. We got to get to the chaos in the White House. According to the Daily Mail, Jill Biden is ready to burn it all down. That's what they said. Anonymous source in the White House says Jill wants to burn it all down because she's so mad at the people and the way they have treated her husband. Yeah, poor Joe. Poor Joe. All the news outlets, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, are writing about how people are now admitting Joe's been struggling cognitively for quite a while. Newsflash, Joe's senile. I love that. We'll get to that and much more. But first.
Excuse me.
Do you wake up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, or ringing in your ears from grinding and clenching your teeth at night? I've been through this. It's fairly common, and dentists charge $600 for a bruxism night guard. Many people are now discovering the Brux Night Guard. Unlike regular night guards that go all the way to the back of the teeth, Brux Night Guard only covers the front teeth. This unique design is what sets Brux Night Guard apart from all other guards. It only covers the front teeth, so the bite force is directed away from the back, where many people grind and clench to help reduce jaw pain and still protect the teeth. You mold it at home to the top and bottom teeth. And unlike other guards, it is made in America and uses 2 materials for added durability. Order a Brux Night Guard today and use the code MAX22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to bruxnightguard.com and enter the code word MAX22. It's a good point by Corey. A lot of people have to drive places this holiday season, this Christmas, and they'd love to fly, but they can't afford it or can't get a flight. Why does Mangione get a flight? Why can't he sit in the car for 5 hours, shackled? Why do we do this? They were speculating on one of the reports saying, will they use a helicopter or a jet? Why? He's just a scum, evil little murderer. He should be forced to sit in a little, not even an SUV. They should put him in a little Kia Soul. Stick him in a Kia Soul and drive him to New York. They don't need security. No one's actually going to try to help free him. That's not going to happen. All right, here's the headline. I love this story. And we know Joe Biden is not going to go out with any grace or dignity or class. Joe Biden, He's doing everything, or at least the people around him are doing everything they can to undermine Trump. We've told you about the wall, selling off parts of the wall, making a deal, signing a deal with bureaucrats, allowing them to stay home and not work for the next 5 years. They're spending, I don't know what it is, billions to hire a bunch of new DEI people, paying them average salaries like 300 grand, hiring thousands of more DEI people, signing them contracts just to undermine Trump, just to hurt Trump. And of course, they're doing the best to start World War III before Trump takes office. I've told you before, it's going to get worse. We got 32 days. It's going to get ugly. This is from the Daily Mail. They wrote, the headline is, how vengeful Jill Biden is urging depressed Joe to burn the whole thing down in the final days. It says, 'tis the season for revenge. For President Joe Biden is spending the remaining weeks of his presidency settling scores. And, you thought it was petty when the Clinton people, when they took over the White House, when they handed over the White House to Bush, they ripped all the W's off all the keyboards. Classy people. That's going to be nothing. That's child's play. This is going to get so much worse. Here's a quote from an anonymous source, supposedly near the First Lady. Jill views Democrats on Capitol Hill, the wider party, the Obamas, the staff inside and outside the White House, the media, and all of Washington, D.C. with such resentment that I can't imagine she isn't encouraging Joe to burn the whole thing down. A particular target for the first couple, says the Daily Mail, is said to be Nancy Pelosi, who led the effort to push Biden out, and personally calling him and demanding he quit in the hours before he withdrew. The pair had been friends for 50 years, but a wounded Biden has been giving her the silent treatment. Any repair in the relations is thought to be unlikely. A repair in the relations. We played you yesterday. He wants to ban stock trading for Congress because, as he said, how can you look your constituents in the face when you're getting rich while in public service? Joe Biden would never do that. Nancy Pelosi has done that, and I don't know what more he has in store for Nancy. But what they're going to do over the next week, they're going to go back to Rehoboth Beach, and all they're going to do is plot. We know it. They're just despicable people, vengeful, spiteful people. It's going to be nasty. And not just to Trump, to Nancy and anybody else who crossed him. By the way, it says Joe Biden insisted on Kamala as his replacement because he knew that
get smacked around.
He knew that if they put a better candidate in there, the candidate could win. He wanted Kamala in there, and now he can brag forever. He's the only man ever to beat Trump, and he will remain so. Trump is 5 for 6 over the last 3 elections. He won the primary and he won the presidency combined 5 times. He only lost once, and Joe Biden wants his legacy to be, I'm the guy, the only guy to beat the evil orange man. That's what he wants. He is a deranged narcissist. Keep that in mind when you think about the legacy of our 46th president. By the way, 8 years ago at this time, Joe Biden and Obama were plotting on how they could destroy Trump. Trump talks about how it's better this time, and it is. I mean, he's Jeff Bezos and his lovely wife were at Mar-a-Lago last night. All the CEOs are kissing the ring. The transition is going great. The public supports it. But keep in mind, last time he was ready to take office, behind the scenes, they were plotting ways to paint him as a Russian spy, a Russian asset, a Putin puppet. And they tried to destroy his presidency before he even took office. So don't discount that. They could be working behind the scenes like they were last time to destroy the man. We will see.
The Biden should get back at Pelosi is just sprinkle handcuffs and hammers around their property.
Well, I don't think she's going to be home for Christmas. She's laid up in a German hospital after breaking her hip. That's the point we are right now. We have a president who everyone admits now is senile. They covered up for him for 4 years. We have Nancy Pelosi in a hospital with a broken hip. We have Mitch McConnell, who was the most powerful Republican in D.C. not long ago, wandering the halls in a dementia haze. These are the people who are running the country at the moment. And Democrats are upset because Musk has power and Vivek have power. These billionaires who made a fortune running businesses efficiently, brilliantly. I want that. I want Musk. Any sensible person does. It's a great day in America to think people, actually smart, brilliant people who know how to run a business, are now trying to run the country, and they're fighting him every step of the way. That's the new strategy for Democrats. I was just reading about this. Their strategy is to call Musk the president, call him a co-president, or say he's calling the shots because they think it'll get under Trump's skin and it'll create a divide.
It might.
That's true. It might. Trump's not going to like it if Musk gets too much credit. But how can you not? I mean, if you love this country, how can you not love the idea of the smartest man, the richest man in the world, the greatest innovator, the hardest working guy, volunteering to reshape the government? We know we got problems. We know we have to stop spending. We know we have to do something about the deficit. And here you have a guy willing to do it, a guy who knows how to efficiently run something. Everybody should be thrilled. Everyone should be grateful that Musk is willing to do this. And Democrats want to go to war with him. Good luck. Because, I'll take Musk over Chris Murphy or Dan Goldman, these hacks who want to sneak a pay raise for themselves into the bill. Just despicable people. All right, I want to get to this ties to my favorite moment of the campaign. If you missed it, like most things, Trump and the Trump campaign said the situation in Aurora, Colorado. Remember we talked about that? Remember Trump talked about it, Vance, and the illegal aliens, gang members, Tren de Aragua gang members had taken over multiple apartment complexes in Aurora. The mayor of Aurora said it wasn't true. The governor of Colorado said it was a figment of the imagination of a local city councilwoman, that it wasn't really true. It wasn't really that bad. Well, it's bad. And every time I see a story like this, I have to ask, is this how did Joe Biden get a single vote? I mean, Joe Biden, how did Kamala Harris get a single vote? How did this not convince everybody that we have to change directions? How would this have worked? If we had 4 more years of an open border, we would have 4 more years of Venezuelan gang members taking over apartment complexes and torturing and killing people. This is all on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is from Denver 7, a media outlet in Colorado. More than a dozen people have been taken into custody at the troubled edge of Lowry Apartments in Aurora following an armed invasion and kidnapping are suspected of being members or associates of a Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. ICE officials said the individuals are all Venezuelan nationals and are all undocumented. The gang members took 2 people hostage, a man and a woman. But 13 to 15 armed gang members kidnapped them and held them hostage in the same building. The Aurora police chief said the victims were, quote, bound, pistol whipped, victimized, and terrorized. Both endured torture. The man was stabbed. The woman had her fingernails pulled out by gang members who control this apartment complex. This is what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden did that. He let them in. There were no Tren de Aragua guys in the country, virtually none, until 2020, when he opened the border and welcomed them in. Now they're here. They have a presence in 18 U.S. cities. And Tom Homan's coming after them, but not before they torture. they let these two go after they promised not to go to the cops, and then they went to the cops, which is good, and then they arrested them, the gang members, and hopefully they will hand them over to ICE and they will be gone. But there are thousands of them. Joe Biden did that. How is he not held accountable? This is on him. This blood is on his hands, her hands. And let's go back to the campaign, because obviously this was an issue. Obviously, this may have made the whole difference. If they didn't open the border, we may be looking at President Harris or President Biden. But they thought they could open the border, allow 10 million illegals, 15 million illegals, gang members, murderers, drug dealers into the country. And somehow, I think because they knew the media would help them, they could weather the storm. They could survive this major campaign issue. This is my favorite moment. It really is. It just illuminates just how corrupt, just how dishonest, just how in the tank the mainstream media is. This is an alleged news anchor, Martha Raddatz. I think she fills in for Georgie Stephanopoulos a lot of times on Sunday mornings. But she's asking J.D. Vance about this, about the gang members taking over apartment complexes in an American city. And she's downplaying it in service to the Biden-Harris campaign. Just a remarkable moment, especially when you see what's actually happening right now in Aurora, Colorado. Let's watch.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting, because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said, rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
That is just an amazing moment. That will live forever, in my mind at least. Do you hear yourself? That is an anchor, probably making $10 million a year, working for ABC, saying it's only a handful of apartment complexes taken over by a violent Venezuelan gang, which is taking people, kidnapping people and torturing them. And she says, it's only a handful. Only, what is, think of the thought, what's in her brain? Saying, I got to do everything. This is an ugly story. This looks bad for my guy, my girl. I got to defend them. It's not that many apartment complexes. God bless J.D. Vance. Do you hear yourself? And you know what scares me, honestly, worries me? She got 74 million votes. The woman who let them in, let in gang members, murderers, drug dealers.
How many of those votes, though, were for her or against Trump, though?
That's true, but Trump's number one issue was shut the border down, close the border. I mean, people heard about Laken Riley and Rachel Marin and Jocelyn Ungary and still voted to let more gang members in the country. People, normal people said, more, bring us more, give us more. All right, what are we looking at?
This is the Aurora, Colorado story.
Oh, good. Let's. All right, but now we'll move on. We got to move on. I got to get to this story. I don't want to do any more drone talk. I was actually so sick of drone talk, I almost changed the channel on my friend Rob Finnerty last night on Newsmax. But he brought on a UFO expert in perhaps the most bizarre interview I've ever seen. We'll show you some of that. And San Francisco taxpayers are paying a woman to serve as their fat czar. She's on the payroll. She's a health official. And she's there to celebrate fatness. Yes, that is your government. At least it is if you live in San Francisco. We will get to her and more, but first.
Excuse me.
A large part of managing a business's finances is tedious, repetitive work to ensure accurate bookkeeping. Well, Ramp helps streamline this work, giving business operators more time to focus on what matters most. Are you looking to cut costs and improve your business's bottom line? The best business operators have turned to Ramp to help them stop wasteful spending and improve their finance operations. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. With Ramp, spend policies are built into the card so you can prevent wasteful spending before it happens. You can customize spending limits and restrictions so employees are empowered to purchase what your business needs, and you can have peace of mind. Ramp plays the bad cop so you don't have to. Detecting policy violations, chasing missing documentation, requesting repayment, and locking cards of non-compliant employees. Ramp's accounting software automatically collects receipts and categorizes your expenses in real time so you don't have to. Say goodbye to manual expense reports. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. That's RAMP.com/Gerry. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC, terms and conditions apply. Get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Gerry. All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. You know, I'm pretty sick of the drone story. I'm sure most of people are. The drone story is just droning on with no resolution. We don't know who, well, whatever. You've all seen it. We've all heard it. So I'm watching friend Rob Finnerty last night on Newsmax, and he starts getting into the drones. He's into it. A lot of people are into it, especially people who see them over their houses, and they know their government won't tell you whose drones they are, what they're doing up there. A lot of different theories. And so he brings on a guy, Dr. Stephen Greer. He's a medical doctor and a UFO expert. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. UFOs. I'm not really into UFOs. Some people are, but it's not my thing. I don't care about UFOs generally. So I say, I'll hear him out. The interview is about 6 minutes long. We'll play a little, but this was so bizarre. I have a feeling we're going to see Stephen Greer again. He sounds smart. I mean, he's a doctor, and he talks about lots of things, black sites and secret programs and seeing actual aliens. He said he's seen aliens. Some are 10 feet tall, he said. Some are only 1.5 feet tall. I think he was mistaken. I think he just saw Ketanji Brown Jackson on stage at Broadway. That's the one that's 1.5 feet tall. That's Brown Jackson. But he speaks with authority. I'm sorry. He's probably delusional, but I just couldn't stop watching. I couldn't stop wondering, where does he get these ideas? And what if he's right? He says we're all going to find out the truth before inauguration. In the next 30 days, there's going to be bombshell revelations that changed the course of history. Yes, this guy was bringing it. Let's watch a little bit.
Joining us now is the founder of the Disclosure Project, Dr. Stephen Greer. Dr. Greer, it is great to have you on. A pleasure to be speaking with you right now.
Thank you.
What is going on out there? What are people seeing?
Well, it's a complex story. To make it very succinct, we did predict this 30 years ago that they would begin to launch some activity equivalent to a false flag to make it look like there's some sort of alien attack or threat. In reality, it's a response to what's happening. And I've recently told the incoming members of the administration this and people at the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee that we have a team of about 6 different black sites that have been running illegal projects related to so-called UAPs and UFOs coming forward in the next 30 days or so. They will bring forth dispositive evidence of this and the fact that these programs have been run illegally and outside of constitutional oversight. This is a ramp up to divert attention from that activity and could lead to some other events that would be catastrophic. This is a very dangerous situation. Nothing people are seeing has anything to do with aliens or extraterrestrial intelligence. It has to do with trying to maintain the cover up on a secret program that went black, but illegal black, back in the late 1950s. So we're into a 65, 70 years of some very dangerous operations. Now, these men that are defecting are coming out of some sites I've been at. I was in a helicopter last year, which after that I was almost killed, frankly. And we were over these black sites and saw the openings that go into underground facilities where there are the man-made UFOs that come out, but also where they have illegal electromagnetic pulse weapons where they target and down the extraterrestrial vehicles that are then reverse engineered.
Okay, let me stop you. Let me stop you right there, Dr. Greer. Let me stop just because I want everyone at home I want us all to be on the same page. You're saying that we have the technology to shoot ET craft, not of this planet, out of the air, and we are reverse engineering those aircraft.
100%. And there are multiple men coming forward. They've been with JSOC and Special Forces, who are also NOx, an unofficial cover in corporate world. One of them's been there about 29 years and is very senior and has all the evidence, and they'll be releasing the evidence and the information. Now, this creates a dynamic because it's happening before the inauguration. They plan to do it sometime between now and early January. And I've been working with these men for about 19 months, and they're serious and they have the goods. They can prove what they're stating, but they're also going to unmask themselves. They will come forward, the name, rank, serial number, and the whole history of this, including the illegal nature of some of these programs, which we don't have time to go into, but they'll curl your toes, some of the stuff that's been going on.
All right. They will curl your toes. The information we're going to get in the next 2 weeks. What the hell is he talking? He said he met with incoming members of the administration and Senate Intelligence Committee. They met with this guy. You can call him, allegedly, you can call him a nut. You could say he's just making it up, but he sounds pretty convincing. And he sounds like we're going to learn something in the next 2 weeks. That is, he said, will curl your toes about black sites, underground facilities in this country that are reverse engineering unidentified flying objects or UAPs. That's going to happen. I knew there was going to be some crazy stuff in the next 32 days. I had no idea we were going to learn about reverse engineering UFOs. And again, you got to watch the whole interview. He talks about seeing illegal aliens. Some are 10 feet tall. I'm sorry. It's hard to laugh. What else can you do? Just laugh. But apparently he's going to come back on. Rob's going to have him on again to further explain what's going on at these black sites, which have been operating since the 50s. And that somehow is connected to the drone sightings. I don't know. I don't know who to believe, him or Alejandro Mayorkas or John Kirby, who says, oh, it's nothing. Nah, it's nothing. All right, that was not the most bizarre, probably not the most bizarre interview I saw yesterday. Let's get to this. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's like a photo montage of all the health officials in the world, in the Western world. It's hilarious. There's one from like Belgium who's like 400 pounds. Then you have Rachel Levine, an elderly fat man who's telling you how to be healthy. Dresses as a woman, of course. And then you have San Francisco's new, I want to get her title correctly. She's called the Fat Czar. San Francisco Department of Health hired fat activist Virgie Tovar as the city's, weight stigma czar. That's her job. San Francisco, everything's working so well out there. They have enough money to hire a weight stigmazar. She's the author of You Have the Right to Remain Fat. That's her book. Her job as a city health official is to convince people it's okay to be morbidly obese. Oh, God, how did we get here? Yes, it's okay to be unhealthy. That's her thing. And she's not just some wacky activist who has a club of fellow fatties. She's a city official, and her job is to convince people, kids, that it's okay to be, 400 pounds, no problem. Listen to this nut.
Where do you see the intersection really? What is your definition of health?
Yeah, that's really complicated, right? I think I want to I want to talk about that question, but I want to start by saying that, no one has to be healthy. No, right? Like, I mean, it's like, no, like there is no governing body that's like out there putting, you know what I mean? It's like no one owes anybody that in either the traditional sense of the word or any other more innovative or, more politicized, maybe even version of that word. So I think it's important to say like, and I want to back up and bring in intersectionality and say like, right, like look at the disabled community, right? Like I think people with disabilities have and activists within that space have consistently been saying like, I'm never going to be your notion of healthy. That doesn't mean I don't get to be a full human. You get to treat me some kind of way, right? And so I think that I love taking that principle within disability rights to fat activism and to understandings of fatness. So I want to start there, right? Like no matter what size you are, you don't owe anybody else your health. But I mean, for me, right, like in an ideal world where there wouldn't be health-based gatekeeping at all.
I'm really glad that Barnum and Bailey's lent her one of her tents so that she can interview.
That is a city health official who says flat out, no one has to be, she said, no one has to be healthy. What is she, when she goes to the doctor for a checkup, does the doctor say, you're doing great. Keep it up, Virgie. Keep it up. No one has to be healthy, says Gerry Tovar, San Francisco health official. What do we get? I'm sorry. If you're morbidly obese, you're not healthy. You're gonna die. You shouldn't be that way. Despite what this health official says, that is a bad thing. That is again, like she compares it to the disabled. She should compare it to people who have, cancer, who have debilitating diseases. How about diabetes? Yes, you shouldn't want diabetes. That's not good. That's a bad thing. You should try, to lose weight. You should try to be healthy. You should do your best. You should not eat that big package of Oreos. That's not good for you, despite what the city health official is trying to tell you. Oh, God. I mean, that somebody in San Francisco thought that was a good idea. Yes, let's hire a fat czar to convince fat kids that they're fine, that they're good, they're healthy. That's not unhealthy to be obese. Is that really the new trend? Convince fat people that it's okay to be unhealthy, it'll cut your lifespan, it'll make life difficult. But let's not shame them. You know what? We should shame them. That's the healthy thing. Shame them. Lose weight, lady. Just cut the carbs. How about that? Take a walk. Is that hard? Take a walk, cut the carbs, stop eating to excess, and maybe you'll live longer and be healthier and be happier. But that's not the message you get. But anyway, that's your latest public health official in the United States. Is that going to be a trend? Every city going to hire a fat czar? They're trendsetters out there in California. We're going to have one in Boston, New York.
Imagine how effective the Texas fat czar is going to be.
Fat czar, you finally get a chance to get a real job, Ironhead. That probably pays well.
Hey,
has good benefits. Well, we will leave it there with Gerry Tovar. Fat. It's okay to be fat. That's the message of the day. But all right, that will do it for today. Thanks for watching on Free Speech Rumble and on Twitter. Please give us a follow, a subscribe. Go to Spotify or go to Apple. Give us a follow. for this. Do it for Christmas. Do it for us for Christmas. Give us a follow or a subscribe. Hit the button on Spotify or Apple. We appreciate it. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thank you.